We say good morning now to William Schlichter. He is a Farmington resident, and he is also an author. And we are going to visit with him about a couple of books, one that is already available for you to read, and one that is being released today. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing great. Good to have you here.
Well,
First of all, give us a little background on yourself.
Well, I'm from Farmington originally. I grew up here. I graduated in a long time ago.
I know that feeling.
Yeah, it doesn't feel that way, but when your children are about to turn 21, it sure does.
Yeah.
I actually graduated in 92, went to Farmington, went to Mac, got my associate's degree, went to SEMO, got a bachelor's in education. I've been a teacher for about 17 years. Went to MSU, got my master's in theater. So I do a lot of things, but my passion's always kind of been writing. So that's what I've been working for a long time.
And it seems to have been paying off. You have one book that has been published?
Yes.
Tell us about that one.
That's going to be my what you call zombie series, but I like the classics. I don't call them zombies; they're the undead. But it's No Room in Hell, and the first book is The Good, the Bad, and the Undead. And I wanted to do something different. So many zombie stories are out there. I wanted to approach something different. One, I set it in Missouri. Two, I made the characters intelligent. I wanted to see what would happen if some intelligent people had to deal with the zombie apocalypse. Because a lot of times it's a bunch of people just running around with no clue of what to do, and you're like, just eat them already. Plus, one of the main characters is a police officer, and he's pursuing the murderer of his daughter. And so the zombie apocalypse happens, and he wants to find the man that killed his daughter. You know, he wouldn't stop searching for that person just because the undead pop up. So I wanted to explore some different aspects that we haven't seen before in a lot of zombie literature and movies and film.
When you get into a book like this, it would be, in my opinion, from the outside looking in, that the more you start to write, the more in-depth you get, and the more character development and things like that, it becomes quite an undertaking.
It does. It does. It is a whole world among itself. I have lots of little side notes, and even sometimes I write little side stories about characters that'll never make it into the book, just to enrich the characters and see how they go. But yeah, I have a lot of detailed notes. I keep everything on a giant 3x3 cork board and have it all mapped out. I have a map of the location where the story is set, and just a world unto itself. So when the reader reads it, it's very rich and diverse. You
have to stay true to your characters, because and I would imagine you've caught yourself doing this. If you have your main character doing something, you stop and say, wait a minute, that guy would never do that.
Yeah, you do that a lot. When I write the sci-fi one, I have certain characters that talk certain ways, and when I go back and edit and go, they would never say this way. You have to go back and change that. This one, since it's more kind of now and people from Missouri, you know, I sort of know how we talk, so that one's not as complicated as when you're trying to create an alien society.
Writing a book and having conversation. To me, a good book, it sounds like it's a conversation I could have. A book that's not so good would be one where nobody talks like that. Yeah.
Stephen King said that, you need to write like you're having a conversation with somebody and not do that. And, when you start reading it and you go, oh, wait, people don't talk this way, or people don't talk that way from here or such, then it does, I go back in the editing process and try to make sure everybody sounds natural.
We could do a whole nother interview on Stephen King. You and I have a feeling too.
Yeah, he is. If you're out looking to be a writer, check out his book on writing. It is brilliant. He talks about all the craft, and you could do shows and shows on his literary work.
Well, tell us about the reception you've got for No Room in Hell.
It's not doing too bad. I actually was in Kansas at a Smallville Comic-Con last weekend and had a lot of people interested, sold quite a few copies. It's a lot of ebooks out there doing well. One of my former students read it, and there's a character she just was like, will you just kill that character already? Every time I see her, did you kill her in the next book? Please kill her in the next book. I don't like her. I was like, you don't necessarily want to do that, though. I mean, just because you don't like a character doesn't mean people don't want to see what happens to them,
Those are something like the governor in The Walking Dead.
Yeah, our Lori, I mean, she's the worst mom ever, and she won't, and she got the best death on the show. It's like, what is wrong with you people?
Getting killed while giving birth by your own other son. Yeah,
I know. Best death ever, but yes, worst mom, I mean,
how does somebody get a copy of this book?
It is available on Amazon, and both ebook, and you can order a paperback copy. I will be at the Farmington Library tomorrow at 1 p.m. with a book signing, and I have quite a few on hand. And, of course, I'll gladly sell one to you, and if you want me to sign it, I'll do that too.
And when will the next in the series come out?
Well, it's sitting on my desk right now.
Done?
It is the first draft.
Okay.
I'm going to actually, they say to wait about 6 weeks before you go back and tear into it. So July 1st will be my 6-week mark, and I will tear into that, then send it to the professional editor to make me cry a whole lot. And so I'm hoping that'll be out in either the fall or the first of the year.
Well, that brings us to another book that's coming out now, right?
Yes, this is my baby. This is what I've worked on for years and years. When I first started to want to be a writer, these were kind of the characters I explored, and of course they have, as I've developed better, I've gone back and rewritten it and rewritten it and rewritten it. But this is my science fiction story, and I would describe it kind of as Buck Rogers encounters Freddy Krueger.
Interesting.
Yeah. If you have younger listeners, maybe more like Han Solo, because, But a lot of people still know who Buck Rogers is, even though he hasn't been in the mainstream sci-fi media. But it's a lot of action adventure, planet hopping. There's some political intrigue, actually. I explored a little bit of the theme of these people are trying to prevent a war. And, I mean, how far past the law do you go to prevent a war? As well, it does have everybody's into strong female characters, and I'm like, I just wrote a woman, and she just happens to be really strong and have problems, and I just write characters. I don't really think about, is this a woman and she's strong, or is this a man and he's a wimp? It's just, this is the kind of character this person is, and develop it further. But they, as they try to prevent this war, they uncover this evil that's going to seep into our reality.
William Schlichter, our guest today. He's from the Farmington area originally. He's written a couple of books, No Room in Hell, The Good, the Bad, and the Undead, which I absolutely love the title, too.
Thank you.
And then Enter the Sandman, The Silver Dragon Chronicles. This is book number 1. It'll be a series as well?
It'll be a series as well. That one also is sitting on my desk with actually, I'm editing that one right now, the second one to come along. And then they want me to write a standalone novel, so I'm trying to do a thriller type story.
So you don't want to be typecast into a Stephen King mold or something like that?
I don't know. I'd actually, when my success hit with the writing, I tried so hard with the science fiction, and I wrote a horror movie script that has been a finalist in several competitions, and so the horror writing seems to be doing it. So I don't know if that's what gets you out there then. So far, but I enjoy the darkness in some of these stories and all that. But no, I don't think I'd ever write a romance or
love stories. Not your thing.
No,
right? Yeah.
no.
I love Stephen King. We were talking about him. I love Peter Straub books too, from when I was growing up, and I read a lot because they were the kind of authors. Some authors kind of have to have everything tied up in a neat little bow at the end where everything gets explained, a.k.a. Dean Koontz. But Stephen King and some of these others, it's like The Walking Dead. The main character could be killed by the end of the book.
That's very true. My sister's not happy with the ending of No Room in Hell because she's like, I want to know what happened. I was like, you're going to have to get the second book because I'm a big fan of the cliffhanger type ending. I do tie certain things up. I mean, you can't go through the whole book and not tie certain storylines up. But there's an overall arcing story that I want to take these characters through, and you just can't do it in one book. Especially the Silver Dragon Chronicles, I have those planned up until 6 or 7. storylines. And I like to seed little clues. You read book 7 and then you kind of go back and go, oh my, they mentioned that in book 1. I'm not a big fan of we've been best friends for 20 years and you forgot to mention you had a half brother, Spock.
It used to be the rule of thumb was good always has to defeat evil. And maybe it was with guys like Stephen King. That seems to be changing now.
It does. And actually, we almost like to follow the villain anymore. I mean, look at the TV series Hannibal. I mean, that was more about the villainous character than anything. I mean, we want to know about Darth Vader. We want to know what makes these characters, they're more interesting sometimes than the hero. And I don't like the good guys always win scenario. One of my favorite movies is Empire, and we all know, yes, it's the middle one, but Empire Strikes Back, but yet the good guys lose. They come out by the skin of their teeth, and I do that. I like to feel that in the Silver Dragon Chronicles, the good guys, sometimes they don't win, and there's a real chance that your favorite character may die. Shakespeare did that, I mean, well, everybody died in Shakespeare if it was a tragedy. I mean, yeah, but that's the thing. I mean, they are successful, but yet they don't always win. And I think that's needed sometimes. I think that's what people, because that's life. You don't always get the prize or get to keep it.
William, who are your parents?
Linda and Larry Schlichter, both Farmington natives.
What do they think of all this?
Well, my mom every time I turn around, your mom has posted she's proud of you on Facebook. So, and my dad's pretty excited too. He's been super supportive. And in fact, if you think back to it, my earliest childhood memory was going to see Star Wars at the Corral Drive-In. And I can remember growing up, Dad would be like, oh, you'd probably like this movie. And it was always science fiction. So even when they weren't necessarily being like standing over you supportive, like tossing the football supportive, they were always, oh, check out this sci-fi movie or read this book or whatever. So they've always been very supportive of me and my writing. And my mom is just thrilled that it's finally, because it's taken a while. It's not an easy thing to break into.
What do your students think of all this?
Oh, they love it. They enjoy it. I teach creative writing for one of my courses, and there's never any question of, do you know what you're doing?
Not if they're smart, right?
Oh, yeah, that's for sure.
Where do you teach at?
I teach in Sherwood Cass. It's on the other side of Clinton, Missouri, kind of by Kansas City.
All right. And again, you'll be signing copies of, I guess, both books? Then?
I have both books. They will be available tomorrow we'll be at the Farmington Library at 1. They want me to do a little workshop. I'll probably talk about writing a little bit more and then do some signing.
Do you hope I think the obvious answer is yes. Are you anywhere near signing a book deal or anything?
I'm working on it. I wrote a movie script, and it has been a finalist in 5 different script competitions. Always a bridesmaid, never a bride. But at this point, I'm moving towards working on selling it. See what happens there.
This is very cool. Very cool stuff. William, anything else you wanted to mention?
No, just if you like a little sci-fi or horror, or you want to meet a local celebrity. I mean, I guess that's what it is, right?
Speaking of that, a lot of folks, I meant to mention this before, a lot of folks would know your grandfather.
Oh, my grandfather, Jack Clay. Yes, great man. You want to talk about inspiration. When he passed away, you lost so much history because he knew this county and this area. World War II veteran. I actually wrote a college paper on some of his experiences during World War II. But in the Enter the Sandman in that series, I use I use for the governments, I use some historical references, and I would say that his love of history is one thing I know so much about history is because of that. But yeah, I mean, it's always amazing what inspires you and moves forward. And you can think of all the stories he told you about a historical area, and you go, that'd work. That'd still work in my little science fiction story. It's just aliens and and those kind of things.
What time will you be at the library?
I'll be at the library tomorrow at 1.
Perfect.
1 p.m.
Well, congratulations on your successes. Continued good luck, and Have a great day.
Oh, thank you very much.
All right, William Schlichter joining us today, a graduate of Farmington High School and Mineral Area College, now an author, and he has written a couple of books that are available, No Room in Hell, The Good, the Bad, and the Undead, and Enter the Sandman. He'll be signing copies and selling copies tomorrow at the Farmington Public Library.